Funding for this program was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting as part of American Graduate, Let's Make It Happen, a public media initiative to help communities implement solutions to the high school dropout crisis.
What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel Platten. Welcome to American Graduate Day.
Guys, we're graduating.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves.
We've all persisted through the struggles of senioritis, and here we are today.
We went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but it made us into the class we are today.
We are the graduating members of the class of We Made It.
But I can make an explosion, and all those things I didn't say were wrecking balls inside my brain.
Every day, for the rest of your life, there are going to be opportunities. Take advantage of it.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
Do not let high school be the best 4 years of your life.
There is a whole world going on around us that is just waiting for us to explore.
Dreams. To achieve, to be something big.
You have been told to follow your dreams, but what if it's a stupid dream?
'Cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. This is my fight song. Take back my life song.
Life is constantly changing, and so should you. In the sense that you should never grow complacent.
You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm gonna reach my goals, even if it kills me.
Close your eyes and picture yourself in the future saying, "They told me I couldn't, so I did."
Congratulations, class of 2016. We did it.
'Cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. No, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
And welcome to American Graduate Day 2016. For too many of this country's students, graduating from high school is a fight. It's a battle. Today's program and the American Graduate Movement is all about the people and the organizations working side by side with these young people to show them they are not alone in this fight. Hey everybody, I'm Soledad O'Brien, and I am privileged to be hosting the 5th annual broadcast of American Graduate Day, coming to you live from the Tisch WNET Lincoln Center studios in New York City. The high school graduation rate in America has reached an all-time high of 82.3%, but that still means nearly 1 in 5 don't graduate. Research has shown that one of the most important factors contributing to a young person's success in life is the presence of mentors. And that's why mentorship is the overall theme of today's 4-hour live broadcast. So joining us from Washington, D.C., two people who are at the forefront of this battle. Patricia Harrison is the president and CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Pam Iorio is the president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Welcome to both of you. Pat, let's start with you. The theme, as I mentioned, is all about the importance of mentoring. I have to say, I've never really met a successful person who didn't have a mentor in their life. Why do you think it's so critical in the development of someone young, Pat?
Well, you know, if you're a parent, just think of all the steps it takes to get that young child to a successful path in life. And these kids don't even have that one caring adult. And what America's public media stations have done is tell their story so that you move beyond thinking of this as a hopeless situation, and you see that these kids are facing such daunting challenges that they can be helped by mentors or American graduate champions. And because of America's public media stations, we have now over 9,000 American graduate champions helping these kids not only graduate from high school, but go on to a career and a job. And that is really the long path we want, because we can't have a strong civil society if our successive generation has no opportunity to succeed.
It's a really, really important mission. Now, Pam, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been in the mentoring gig for about 110 years, which probably makes you one of the very first mentoring organizations in the entire country. What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about mentoring?
Well, many people think that they can't be a mentor, that they have to somehow be trained in a certain way or have a certain profession to be a mentor. But mentors are, anyone can be a mentor. What it really means is that you're a caring adult and that you want to take an interest in a young person's life. And so people from all walks of life, regardless of whether you're in the workforce or not, or what your job is, or what your level of education is, if you're a caring person and you want to reach out to a young person and say, I care about you and your future, I have an interest in how you're going to grow up, and I want you to become a productive member of society, and I'm going to spend time with you. And that's really all it takes. And so people need to see themselves, look in the mirror and see themselves as a mentor and feel good about that, and then volunteer to become a mentor.
Pat, often people will talk about and even write about the positive impact of mentoring on students. I think less often we talk about the positive impact of mentoring on the mentors.
Yes, this is Pam. I don't know if you want to answer this, but she was just saying earlier how much it changes the mentor.
Absolutely, Pat and I were just talking about that. In our world with bigs and littles, yes, the littles are very much impacted, but from what I hear and what I see every single day is that the bigs are equally impacted. Their lives are changed forever for the better too, because when you give of yourself to another person and you become invested in another person, you grow and change too. And the wonderful thing about Big Brothers Big Sisters is that we're bringing together people from very different walks of life, people that otherwise may never have met each other, and they become entwined in each other's life. They really care about one another, watch each other as they grow and change through the different phases of their life. It's a very gratifying thing to see.
Yeah, I think that's really too. So Pat, let me ask you this. The high school class of 2020, they're now freshmen in high school, right? So what do you think, Pat, that they need to do and that mentors need to do for them to get that number of people who graduate up to, say, 90%?
I think it takes a lot of people to do this. It takes teachers, it takes parents, but also it takes listening to the kids themselves. And for example, if you look at IdeaStream in Cleveland, where they have young people who are up there on a stage at a town hall meeting talking about what it means to succeed, and the kids who are in the audience are identifying with them. We need people who are succeeding, who look like the people who want to succeed. And general managers running public media stations throughout the country who are so connected to community really care about these young people. So whether it's the class of 2020 or kids who are in school right now, we need to listen to them, we need to work with them, and we need to make sure they see that they have a place in our society down the road, that it's not hopeless.
So, Pam, let me ask you a question, because I was sort of shocked and sad to read that you need 30,000 mentors. You're short. 30,000 kids don't have, that's a shocking number. Just tell me what kind of mentors you need. Well, tick off for me what you're looking for right now.
We have 305 affiliates across the country, and they all have a waiting list, every one of them, as you said, at least 30,000 children. We're looking for caring adults who are willing to spend an hour or two every week with a young person. An individual who is willing to become invested in that young person, help them with schoolwork, help build their expectations about themselves in life, and to be a positive role model. They don't have to do anything fancy with the young person when they pick them up, and you don't have to take them to an NFL game. You can just go out and take a walk.
You said
you can just throw the ball. You can just go out for ice cream. You can just sit and talk. And so this is something that we all can do.
Yep. All right, Pat, final question to you before I continue on with our program. Give a word of encouragement. I think, honestly, mentors, often they kind of go unsung a lot of the time. What would you say to make people realize the work they're doing is so important, so critical?
Well, I think one of the things that people realize today in our society, in our very disruptive social environment, that it's truly up to us to make changes. It's not external to us. And the reward you get has to be really internal rather than any kind of publicity. They are not unsung heroes, because what counts in life is what you do that lasts. This lasts. My grandfather was an immigrant from Italy who came to this country, and the one thing he said to me was, stay in school. Don't be stupid. And he told everyone in his barbershop. He was a mentor to so many of those young boys and girls who had really little hope of having any kind of academic future because they had to go to work. We have to pass it on because basically that's our American DNA, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Pam and Pat, thank you both for being with me today, and also, of course, for the great work you're both doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Soledad.
You bet, my pleasure. You're going to hear us say the word champions a lot today. This is what we're calling all those advocates, professionals, volunteers, all working to help our young people succeed. Today, we're going to be featuring many stories of these champions produced by our sister stations all across the country. One of our first ones comes from our friends at NET in Nebraska.
I help connect kids that are at risk, sexually exploited, or homeless to different services in Lincoln and provide basic need items. I am a former ward of the state here in Nebraska. I was a foster kid. I got into a lot of trouble when I was a youth, and growing up in the system, I learned that there was a lot of positive people that were in my life in foster care and different group homes. And when I thought about what I wanted to do when I got older, I wanted to be like them.
Her whole life has been in this world. It's not about she studied this, it's not about she got a degree in this, it's she lived this and she understands this, and that's what makes her the perfect person to work with who she works with.
The kids that I work with remind me of me a lot. I know that they sometimes don't come from the best homes, they don't really have a support system that they are aware of, so it's kind of my job to relate with the kids and let them know what's available to them and kind of give them enough encouragement to follow their passions and their dreams.
Everybody's so quick to want to help people, but when the work gets really hard and the success stories don't come in abundance, people get very frustrated and they quit. And Nikki truly has a heart where she's in this for the right reasons and she's in this for the long haul. And Nikki's the kind of person who can change a community.
You know, people get scared of foster care. Big responsibility, time, this and that. People are way scared of adopting. But mentorship is just simple like, yo, anytime you need somebody to talk to, call me. Really? And even you don't have to call a kid every day of the week. Just once, one time during the week, pick up the phone, hey, what's going on? I'm rooting for you. That will change a kid's life. Yeah, I'm rooting for you.
Daryl McDaniels. He's one of the founding members of the hip-hop group Run DMC, and he's right, mentoring, even in the smallest way, can change a person's life. And that clip is part of a documentary series produced by the Foster Care Film and Community Engagement Project. The theme of this broadcast is all about mentoring and all the different ways it can be done. So joining me now, one of the stars of the hit HBO program Girls, also an ambassador for a really tremendous summer program for kids, which is called Horizons National. Allison Williams, nice to have you with us today. You were saying that this is something you have done for almost your entire life.
Yeah, I mean, it was started in my hometown and at my elementary school, and so I kind of grew into it as it existed already. And since then, since I became introduced to it when I was younger, it's expanded so much. But my grandparents were involved, my parents are involved, my little brother volunteered there. Now I'm an ambassador. My husband is the newest board member. So it's really like a full all hands on deck.
You are all in for this. Your
Sure.
focus is the Summer Slide. For people who don't know what that is, what's the Summer Slide and who's affected by the Summer Slide?
So the Summer Slide is this very unfair phenomenon where over the course of the summer, a lot of students from disproportionately low income or English as a second language speaking homes lose progress over the summer, and they tend to fall about 8 to 12 weeks behind cumulatively. And so what Horizons does is we spend our summers with them. And it's a 6-week program, and there's classes, of course. There's also everyone learns how to swim, which helps with confidence in general, and they help conquer the swimming pool, which is kind of the first time they learn that they can overcome anything that they're afraid of. And then there's field trips, and they get to spend time on college campuses on field trips, which plants the seed that there's more to strive for. And we have 99% graduate rate from high school in our students. So
your kids start young, right? Kindergartners, all the way to high school?
Sometimes.
Wow.
And they go all the way through. Most of them stay on an average of 6 years, but a lot of them we're seeing more and more stay the entire way because it's a full investment. And so to deal with just the summers is kind of a way to work around the school systems, whatever they may be. And in each community, we set up shop at a school and we say, come spend the summer with us and go back to school really confident, no longer behind.
What have you seen? Tell me about some of the relationships that you've seen that you think are amazing.
Oh my God, there's so many. I mean, I think my little brother had this really profound experience where he worked with a student that had a really serious stutter, and my brother worked there for 2 years in a row. And by the time he was done his second year, the stutter was gone. He had so much confidence. He felt more confident in the swimming pool. And just as a person in the classroom, he was a more, he was a more committed learner. A couple of the students I talked to at our program in Newark were saying that they want a more engaged classroom during the school year. Their first and second graders, they use that language. They want to be in a classroom with other kids.
Surprising.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's the effect of teachers. That's a direct relationship of having someone that is reliable, that is a consistent presence in your life.
I know that there's a million people who want you to be helping with their organization, and you have spent so much of your time on this one. Why? Why do you do this?
Because it works, honestly. I see it work. It makes sense. You use pre-existing resources, you use teachers that love to teach, and as you guys have all been saying, the mentors get just as much out of it as the students do. And in Horizons, we get to watch these kids systematically. Their lives just change. It literally changes the way they think about their lives and their futures. So to watch that over and over again, you have to be involved because there's no happier thing to witness.
Yeah, it's kind of the best gift you can get, isn't it?
It really is.
Williams. It's so nice to have you.
Thank
and
you for having
congratulations
me.
on all you're doing. That's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
That's
You too.
amazing. Since we're going to be talking about mentoring all day, we thought we should go right to an expert to talk about the topic. 25 years ago, the National Mentoring Partnership, or Mentor, was founded with the purpose of creating a national mentoring support site that makes it easy for adults to find local opportunities. So with us today is my good friend Sheba Turk. She's going to be speaking with the CEO of Mentor, David Shapiro.
Thanks, Soledad. That's right. And what better way to start this conversation but to ask David, what is a mentor, since we're talking so much about mentoring today?
Yeah, a mentor is a friend and a guide and a consistent person in your life. And there are thousands of mentoring programs that make that happen for young people. And then obviously, some young people are lucky to have those mentors just appear in their lives.
And Mentor is such a great organization. Tell us, how did it get started and what exactly you guys do?
Yeah, a lot of it was really started based on the way Big Brothers Big Sisters of America proved that mentoring works. But then there was still this huge gap between the incredible number of kids they were serving, but the much larger number of kids who need mentors. And so Mentor was really started to just start that movement so that all organizations could start mentoring programs in the right way, receive the training they needed. We could get more funding and more people engaged in mentoring and really close that mentoring gap between the kids who were getting it and the kids who need it.
Which is so important. And we were talking with Big Brothers Big Sisters earlier, hearing that 30,000 kids are on the waiting list for a mentor. So there's an enormous need. How many kids are there out there?
Yeah, I mean, there are more boys than girls a little bit are on waiting lists waiting for men to mentor. So that's a real clarion call to men all over this country. And then also, most mentoring programs in this country have a waiting list, and that doesn't even cover kids who are haven't been put forward for a mentoring program, but are really in need of a mentor. We talk about an achievement gap a lot, and I always say there is no achievement gap, there's an opportunity and support gap. We need to provide the relationships that kids need to succeed. We can all be a part of that by becoming a mentor.
We certainly can. And I understand you guys have started keeping track of some data on your website. What's the most surprising thing you've learned there?
I think one of the most impressive things was when the president and Steph Curry did a spot and our partners at the NBA and the White House helped us elevate the call for mentoring. We saw more than 100,000 people respond and search for mentoring opportunities. So we really need those platforms to both explain why kids need mentors and get people to step up to become them. And then time and time again, I'm just impressed at the diversity of organizations and opportunities to become a mentor and help our kids get to graduation and beyond.
Yeah, we heard earlier in the conversation that anyone can be a mentor. What do you say to people who say, I really want to help, but I'm kind of nervous about stepping out there?
Yes, I've heard a lot. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. If you can say to a young person, I'm going to show up when I say I'm going to show up and meet you where you're at, then you have the ability to be a mentor. And my guess is most of the people watching are doing that for other people in their lives, so they can do that for a young person as well.
All right, really important, David. Thank you for the work you're doing and for joining us for American Graduate Day. All right, guys, we want to encourage as many people as possible to become mentors today. So for more information on becoming a mentor, you can head over to americangraduate.org. Thanks again for joining us, David. And we're going to send it back over to you, Soledad, in the studio.
All right, Sheba, thank you, and David as well. During today's broadcast, you're going to hear many inspirational stories about mentorship. And if you'd like to find an opportunity to be a mentor in your area, it's actually very easy. You can go to americangraduate.org, click Be a Mentor in the homepage carousel. You'll be directed to the Mentoring Connector database. Just type in your information, your preferences. You'll be provided with a list of mentoring opportunities in your community. Our next guest is from Communities in Schools, the nation's largest organization that's dedicated to keeping kids in school and preparing them to succeed in life. And joining me here in New York, but he's from the great state of Texas, San Antonio councilman and Communities in Schools alum Ray Saldana. Nice to have you with us.
Absolutely, thank you for having me.
Of course. You know, it's interesting. So your parents are immigrants. My mom and dad are immigrants to this country as well. Talk to me about your education. What was the biggest thing you struggled with in school?
Sure. Well, I think the biggest thing that I struggled with, like a lot of students who, even that I get to represent now, is this idea of finding their motivation and going through life, even without layering on top of that education and getting to high school is difficult. It can be a maze. And oftentimes when I go back and talk to my parents about what was best, the best advice they were able to give to me, they could only take me so far along that path and understanding that maze. I had to really rely on a lot of mentors to understand what it's like.
Did you speak English?
You know, I wasn't speaking English coming into school.
Oh.
And so learning the language was difficult coming in. And that's layered on top of the circumstances that are already affecting a lot of students who are in my shoes going in.
So then what was Communities in Schools able to do for you?
Oh, Communities in Schools, they were superheroes. I didn't know much about them. All I knew is that they were two individuals in my high school who wanted to talk about my future, wanted to talk about college. And that was probably the first time I'd ever heard about the concept of going to school after high school. And that wasn't unusual for many students in my community. Oftentimes I knew more people that went to jail than went to college. And so Communities in Schools really expanded my horizon in a way that nobody else had done.
They really pushed you to think a little bigger than you were even thinking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the difference between having potential, like all our young people do, and actually realizing it. And I had some great mentors through Communities in Schools who showed me that I had the potential to go beyond high school and even get through to graduation, which was very, very difficult.
Sometimes I think students get lost in all the stuff that they actually have to do to graduate and then go on to college.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is literally a maze of understanding financial aid, college applications, essays, editing, and my parents never made it past the 8th grade. And so for me, going home and asking them for help was much more difficult than going to my mentors at Communities in Schools who could show me, who had been trained on how to do these things. And so it was oftentimes not just academic, it was non-academic. If you're dealing with depression at home, or if you're dealing with struggles that are oftentimes difficult when you have undocumented parents, it became a real struggle.
It must be an amazing thing when you see students who are sort of on the path that you were on.
Yeah, and I get to see them now every single day. And I know they've got so much tremendous potential. They all want to go to college, they all want to have great careers, but they need mentors along the way to show them how to get there. And that's what I would benefited from through Communities in Schools.
I'm so glad. Nice to have you, Ray Saldana. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And also thanks for your service as well. It's incredible.
Thank you.
So like Ray Saldana, Communities in Schools is providing students in more than 2,000 locations with resources, mentorship, and examples they need to excel. All day long, you can connect with us as well on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Get information about American Graduate Day, the stories that you heard today, and how you can become a mentor. Don't forget to use our hashtag. That hashtag is AmGrad.
I have a book for you guys today.
In Aurora, Colorado, registered nurse Kimberly Hurst is checking in on 19-year-old Sinai Herrera and her 2-year-old son Caleb.
1, 2, buckle my shoe.
The visits are part of a rapidly expanding program called the Nurse Family Partnership. The partnership combines old-fashioned social services with the latest brain science, all to help low-income, first-time mothers and their children.
Time and time again, I see
these young girls drop out of school, so they're at risk for that and living in poverty forever.
He really likes eggs.
The regular visits begin in pregnancy and continue until the children are 2 years old. Nurses offer advice on health, parenting, and self-sufficiency.
It's really so much more educational rather than clinical. And so I feel like sometimes I'm like a life coach.
Improved outcomes like a 48% reduction in child abuse and an 82% increase in employment for mothers have been so significant that Congress recently voted to infuse home visit programs with $800 million in new funding.
Hi, Jessica, how are you?
But while the Nurse Family Partnership is focused on health and poverty, another outcome is catching the attention of early learning experts.
Do you need some paper?
Kids from the program are showing up at school better prepared. David Olds, the project's founder and a professor of pediatrics at the University of Colorado's School of Medicine, says the educational benefits are no surprise.
Nurse-visited mothers are spending more time talking to their babies, guiding them.
Where's the ego?
All of that earliest process that gets sets in motion a positive cycle of interaction that leads to significant reductions in children's behavioral problems when they enter school, significant improvements in their language development.
A baseball? Yeah, baseball.
Go get.
Go get it? Go get the baseball?
Yeah, get ball.
It seems so simple, but if he only hears 500 words an hour versus 3,000 words an hour, it makes a huge difference, and it's a lasting difference.
Clinical trials show a 50% reduction in language delays by age 2 and a 67% reduction in intellectual problems by age 6. Such results bolster a growing area of brain science that looks at a baby's early environment. Here at the Laboratories of Cognitive Neuroscience at Boston Children's Hospital, researchers are studying how a child's early learning experiences can shape their developing brain and impact early learning.
What many of us are starting to argue is that to foster success as children make the transition to school, you need to invest in what's going on in those first few years.
Charles Nelson is a professor of pediatrics and neuroscience at Harvard Medical School.
Over those first few years, basically the general architecture of the brain forms in a way that sets it up for the rest of your life.
At the Nelson Lab, researchers use non-invasive sensors to pick up communication between brain cells.
Millions and millions and millions of brain connections are being built. And so as we build the scaffolding for subsequent learning in those first few years, that scaffolding enables learning that occurs over the lifespan.
Tell me what we're seeing here.
So what we're doing is we're presenting babies with images of different facial expressions. We want to determine at what age are they able to discriminate different emotions. So the baby sees the different emotions by different people, and as they do that, each time the picture comes up, we're recording the brain activity.
Nelson believes emotions play a big role in brain development. When parents are depressed, afraid, or stressed, their baby's brain development can suffer.
If you look here, she's clearly happy, and she's clearly angry, and she's afraid. Infants who are brought up in environments where they do not see happy, mom is depressed, or there's something else going on in the environment, respond very differently to facial emotion. Development is seriously impacted, and more importantly, if they don't get them in the first 2 or 3 years, development probably is derailed permanently.
Nelson says high poverty homes, like the kind targeted in the Nurse Family Partnership, are vulnerable to stress, depression, and abuse. In these homes, he says, early intervention can make a big difference in brain development. When Sinai Herrera discovered her junior year of high school that she was pregnant, it was a tough time for her.
She was struggling with some depression and trying to figure out what her life was going to look like.
Hearst directed Herrera into mental health counseling and ultimately back to school.
With that counseling, I know I'm a good mom now, and I know that I can do everything that he needs me to do.
Good morning, Rashonda.
The home visits are not cheap. Each family nurse 2-year partnership costs on average $10,000.
How does it feel?
But a RAND Corporation analysis found the investment actually saves money. Every dollar spent today prevents another $5 of social welfare spending in the future.
This is work that is not just somebody's good idea, but it's been developed and tested and retested using rigorous approaches.
The Nurse Family home visits have expanded to 43 states and recently became part of the Obama administration's push for early learning initiatives.
Yeah, okay, Papa.
Bye, sweetie. Bye, honey.
American Graduate Day is a live, nationwide outreach event.
Early education is the bridge to a brighter future. At Maryland Public Television, we create learning resources and programs to keep kids on a positive path towards graduation.
And we are proud to be part of American Graduate Day.
Together, we can make a difference in Maryland.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Banks, and I am so proud to be a part of American Graduate Day. One person who helped inspire me when I was young was my mentor and teacher, Janet Roget. She taught Latin, and she figured out that I really liked being on stage. And she pushed me into public speaking and really helped me become an actor and find my passion. So I'm proud to support Step Up, because it's an organization that understands, like I do, that you can't be what you can't see. Step Up provides teen girls with professional role models, women who help them and inspire them to stay in school, identify their passions, and pursue their career dreams. Become an American Graduate Champion. Be a mentor.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I am very
proud to present the award for Best Actor in a Leading Role in 2024. For cinematography,
for Best Original Screenplay,
Best Director,
your class of 2028 valedictorian,
Class of 2032 Phi Beta Kappa Initiates, graduating cum laude,
your next president.
Put your hands together for our newest partner.
Journalist, poet, James Beard award-winning chef.
Introducing Supreme Court Justice,
Distinguished Fulbright Scholar,
2027 Nobel Prize in Medicine.
the Honorable, acclaimed,
world-renowned
award for lifetime achievement goes to.
If we believe in their futures, they will believe in them too.
I am my
brother's keeper.
President's right. Being our brothers and sisters' keepers is what American Graduate Day is all about, and it's got to start when they're young. We begin our second half hour discussing the importance of early education. Statistics tell us that students who are living in poverty, who aren't reading proficiently by the end of third grade, have a staggering 26% chance of dropping out of school. This is exactly the issue that AARP Foundation's Experience Corps is tackling. They team volunteer mentors who are 50 years and older with K through third grade students to give personal attention to those who might need a little extra help with their reading skills. And we're lucky to be joined by Lester Strong of the AARP Foundation Experience Corps. Also, one of their very best and brightest mentors from the city of Chicago, Ronald Weidman. Nice to have you both. So Lester, why don't you start me off? What was the whole philosophy behind the Experience Corps?
Well, it's twofold. First of all, because there, just as you said, Soledad, there's a recognition that if a child, especially in the American system, isn't reading by the end of third grade, a huge probability that they'll never graduate from high school. And what that means then is that all of the other risk factors begin to kick in: early pregnancy, gangs, drugs, prisons. And in fact, one statistic shows that in our prisons, the 2.5 million inmates, 70% of them can't read above a fourth grade level. So that's how predictive it is. So there's this recognition that we have to catch them early. The other side of it is that we know we have a growing population of older adults. And if there was some way, and this was really the brilliance of John Gardner, if there was some way to bring these older adults with these children who needed help, that there was a way to really have a transformative effect.
That brings us right to Ronald, who is part of that transformative effect. In fourth grade, when you were a student, you had a very difficult time and you were embarrassed by a teacher. What happened?
The teacher told me to stand up and read, man. I stood up and read. She said, "Sit down, boy, you can't read." And I was hurt. In the sixth grade, I had a teacher. He told my mother, "I'm going to keep your son back half a semester to work with his reading and his math." And he helped me to make it through seventh grade and on through high school.
So it sounds like your mentor really changed your life, literally, no exaggeration. So you're not a teacher. You didn't go on to become a teacher. Why did you decide that you would become an Experience Corps member?
I think the fact that I had a successful career and I was able to retire, and I went back to school and got a degree in geography for my pleasure. And I said to myself, you know, I got to give back to what someone gave to me. And I jumped in there, and I'm very happy doing tutoring because I feel like I'm a rock star. The students appreciate me, and they give me something to get up every morning at 5:30 and get to the West Side and drive an hour to get there.
So walk me through then how you train your volunteers and exactly what you have them do.
Our volunteers get about 25 hours of pre-service training before they ever see a child. And at the heart of that training is an adage that we say is that, how can you teach me if you don't know me? So the first and foremost, what we want them to do is to really connect with the child. That's the mentoring part. And then we give them all sorts of study on components of reading and child development and child behavior, so that when they walk into the classroom, they really are a partner with the teacher in identifying the deficits that the child might have and figuring out ways to make it work.
You have a very high retention rate. 80% of your volunteers are retained. That's incredibly high. 60 to 70% of your students achieve a year or more progress as they're doing the work. What role is the sense that folks over 50 can often seem like kindly grandparents to some of these students as well?
Well, I think that's really an important part of it. I think almost genetically there's a right kind of connection, because kids are looking for reinforcement and they're sponges, as we know. And on the other side, those of us beyond 50 really recognize that maybe we have something to give back. So with that relationship, this bond is created, and children are really giving to the older adult as much as they're learning and receiving from the older adult.
You sort of said that, Ronald, right? You said that you feel like you're a rock star. You're getting up at 5:30 in the morning a couple of times a week in order to do that. How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like I'm doing something, and I can live longer by giving back to the students. And it's just like they should pay me to do what I'm doing.
Has it been a struggle to get folks who are over 50, 55 to join you in the Experience Corps? I mean, what do you think you need to tell more people to join?
Well, I think Ron just said it. I think that when there is a recognition that you get more than you give by being in the relationship, I think that that's why people stay. And not only that, but there's an extraordinary health effect and beneficial effect to being a mentor and engaging. More physically fit, more mentally acute, greater social engagement, a greater sense of purpose, which you just heard Ron talk about. There was a recent study by Johns Hopkins that found that some of our volunteers in Baltimore actually experienced a reversal of the underlying causes of dementia by volunteering, so that there are extraordinary health effects, but also emotional effects, both for the adult and for the children.
So, Ronald, I'll give you the last question. Would there ever be a point where you would retire from your, I guess, retirement and go on and stop helping in Experience Corps?
I've been retired 18 years. And to be truthful
and you're getting up at 5:30.
To be truthful with you, I have different other programs that I'm volunteering for. And to me, volunteering is keeping me alive and keeping me going. So no, I think I'm going to keep going until I can't move.
Well, thanks to both of you for joining me. Congratulations to both
Thank
of you for the great work you're doing. Appreciate that. From Champions mentoring young students in Chicago, let's turn to our next stories of champions in Salt Lake City, Utah. Then we're going to roll to the Bronx to hear from NHL legend Mark Messier.
My name is Bill Holterstrom. I'm the president and CEO of the United Way of Utah County. We live here in Utah County, one of the youngest communities in America. It became evident as our societies have changed that we need to rebuild the connection of neighbor to neighbor, and mentoring with the children is one of the best ways we can do that. Mentoring is a strong adult supporting a younger child. We have a great belief that a seasoned mother has great experience to share. How to help a young child explore the world, learn and develop. The more people that are involved in a child's life, the more successful they are. Connections make us stronger. Connections make us more resilient to be able to solve and tackle the world's challenges. If we can help everyone find a way to engage with our young people, support them, and teach and inspire, that's how we'll build our community and our children. We have a program called Welcome Baby. in which we have play groups and we have mothers teaching other mothers in how to engage with their children. As we talk about encouraging the entire community to be engaged in mentoring and supporting, it takes great media partners. Our public broadcasting partners have been phenomenal in sharing and offering the rich library of materials and resources, so essential to the neighbors in the community. I would like to invite every citizen to find a way to engage in their community, to support their community by knowing their neighbor. Become an American Graduate Champion. Be a mentor.
Hi everybody, it's Mark Messier, and it's great to be a part of American Graduate Day. I'd like to tell you about a great mentor of mine. I was lucky enough to have my father as my mentor. Being a professional hockey player himself, I got a lot of lessons from my father, not only on the game of hockey, but also in the game of life. I can remember being 6 years old and not quite in school yet, riding with my father to practice every day, being able to skate before his practices. He always stressed fairness and integrity. And I think those lessons, more than anything, were all part of my upbringing. When I retired in 2004, it came to me that there was an opportunity to do something a little more profound for the city of New York. And so we set up what's called the Eye to Eye program, Inline to Ice. So what we've done is we've gone into the city public school system. We've had 1,000 kids go through our program, not only to learn about the science of skating and all different kinds of skating and the different kinds of equipment that different sports use in skating, but also to actually skate in the gymnasiums on inline skating. We feel the discipline that it takes in order to become a skater is in line with everything that they do in life. When they fall in love with skating, everything becomes better. They're more passionate about their school. They're more inclined to come to school. They're more inclined to come to school with a lot of vigor and a lot of passion. I cannot say enough about our instructors, the way they've handled not only the program to teach Eye to Eye, but also the way they've interacted with the kids and become their friends. And of course, the best way to mentor anybody is becoming a friend and being able to listen and helping them with all their everyday life issues. I challenge you to change a person's life. Become an American Graduate Champion. Become a mentor.
As Mark Messier said, the best way to mentor is to become a friend. And our next group, Friends of the Children, has locations across the country in some of the nation's most impoverished and crime-impacted neighborhoods. By pairing kids with a professional long-term mentor who they call a friend from kindergarten through high school, that's 12+ years, they're determined to change the outcome for thousands of students who are facing the highest risks of not graduating. And joining us today, Devontae Moore, he's with Friends of the Children. He's a program graduate. And Danny Felder, people call him Mr. Danny. He's a child program manager with Friends of the Children. Nice to have you both. Mr. Danny, I'm going to start with you, if I may. You start very young with the kids. Why is that?
Well, we see that if we start young, it's the best time to grab a child, kind of mold them, and guide them through their school years. Because if you start a little later, it's hard to kind of change their modes and ways of acting and thinking. So the earlier the better.
And then also for a long time, because some programs have a different mentor every single year, and you actually sort of have people stay with their mentee for a long time.
Right. Well, we start with a 3-year commitment for a mentor to come in. 3-year commitment because we know the longer they stay with someone, the better connection they have. If there's one change every year, it kind of throws them off, and they don't get connected to anybody, and they kind of get used to, oh, every year I'm going to have a new mentor. So with us, we make a long-term commitment. And for me, I've been there 13 years, so I've seen a lot of children go through the program.
So Devontae, you began with Friends of the Children when you were in kindergarten, and you met Mr. Danny when you were in 4th grade. I'm going to ask him to close his ears for a minute so you can brag on him for me for a second. What makes him such a great mentor?
He's just always there. Anytime we need him, if we want to go out just to get out of the neighborhood or the things that we're going through in the neighborhood, he's quick to take us on outings. So an outing would be maybe to the park to play basketball. He started a tournament. We was in Central Park tournament. He put us in another tournament called Barn Squad because we're all that athletic. So he just take us out the neighborhood when we don't want to be there.
How did he help you think about your future and think about graduating from high school?
He was real. Anytime I went to him and I wanted some real advice from a person, he told me either you're going to be like the guys that's on the corner every day or you're going to be somebody who wearing suits, which I'm wearing now.
Well, you made a good choice. I like that, and an excellent suit.
Thank
So
you.
tell me, I mean, I like that advice. You're real, which I have to imagine for a lot of kids, they need to really hear, you know, sort of the truth from somebody who's a mentor. What kinds of things are you telling the students that you're advising? What kinds of things are they dealing with?
Oh, they're dealing with a lot of things. There's peer pressure, there's drugs, there's gangs, a lot of things that children could get into, you know, if they didn't have a mentor to kind of keep them on the right track, steer them the right way, and get them to graduate high school.
So then, Devontae, if you hadn't been in Friends of the Children, realistically, where do you think you'd be right now? How old are you?
20 years old.
Okay, so where would you be?
Jail.
Really?
Maybe even just on the corner with the regular guys.
You were on a bad path?
I was on a bad path. I will admit a lot of things was going sideways in my neighborhood because I had both parents, but when you leave your household, it's a different kind of rules you have to follow. So your parents can teach you to be the greatest kid in the world in the house, but when you leave your building, walking up the block, either you're gonna be prey or predator. So you have to switch your roles sometimes.
You won an important scholarship.
Yes.
It's called the Raphael Ward Scholarship.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that scholarship.
The scholarship is basically talking about a person who didn't become a product of his community. The reason why it's called the Raphael Ward Foundation is because that was one of my best friends who was killed. So he was killed over a jacket in January 4, 2013.
Over a jacket?
Over a jacket. Wow. So it was tough for a lot of us to even go through that, but his mother started a foundation, and since they felt like I was one of the kids who always had good grades, but I just hung around the wrong crowd, and I wanted to succeed, but it's the community I was a part of, they decided to bless me with that award.
Did it make you feel like you had an added responsibility? That is not a small thing to get that scholarship.
It made me feel important. It made me feel like I was different. That's something I like to go by. I don't like to be regular. I like to be different. So it made me feel that even though I know I'm doing good, others see that I can do good and I will do good.
Mr. Danny, back to you if I may.
Yes.
I have to imagine that mentoring can be really challenging under the best of circumstances, but under difficult circumstances, which clearly sometimes you're in, it's got to be exhausting. And you've done it, what did you, 13 years?
13 years.
It's a long time. Why do you do this?
I do it because I love kids, first of all. And with someone like Devontae, it has been challenging, but to see the rewards at the end. It was challenging with Devontae because I never knew what he was going to get into, walking to the school, and academically he was fine, but the difficulties was his behavior. So walking to the school, never know if he just got into a fight or if he was angry about a certain situation, and having the contact with the teachers really helped. And he was always academically fine, so I had no problem with that. So I knew he was on that path. Just kind of get him to curtail all that anger and aggression and kind of get him to know and focus towards his graduation.
So then, Devontae, extrapolate out to the future. What does your future look like?
My future looking bright. It's looking excellent. Right now, I'm an intern at JP Morgan Chase, the branch, so for project management analysis. I'm in a program right now called a nonprofit organization called Year Up. Right now, I'm working on writing a book called Smart Savage. Basically, it's talking about myself. That's what I feel like I am, a smart savage, because I'm smart, always had the good grades, but it's just that I went through trials and tribulations that I feel like the youth need to know about.
I can't wait to read that book, and congratulations on your great internship. Thanks to both of you for joining me today, and really wonderful work for both of you. In more and more places across the country, mentors from Friends of the Children are giving kids a chance to start a new cycle of success and keeping them on the path to graduation. And as we've seen, small, quiet actions often have very huge results. For 50 years, RIF, Reading is Fundamental, has been providing communities with that quiet spark to ignite the imagination of the earliest learners.
Who wants to hear a story?
Once upon a time, there were 3 billy goats.
The tiniest billy goat. Not tripping over my bridge. It is I, the biggest billy goat grunt.
And the billy goat was so heavy that the bridge creaked and
There's a bridge they have to cross. And
brain ugly as eyes as big as saucers, nose as long as a fire poker.
And he had the biggest.
The road, the troll, it's only I.
Trick, trap, treat.
flew with the troll and pulled
Crushed him to bits.
Up to the hillside.
Well, come on.
Continued up to the hillside.
Each of the groups we're meeting today are powered by devoted American Graduate champions. So far today, across this first hour, I am happy to report that the combined total of American Graduate champions has grown to 865,744. That is a massive number. Wow. Thanks to everybody for dedication and energy. And during today's broadcast, you're going to hear many inspirational stories from organizations that are working to keep students on that path to graduation. So if you want to find out more about the groups that have been featured on this program, you can visit americangraduate.org/grad-day and click on Connect with Our Partners. And speaking of great partners, for more than 100 years, Boys and Girls Clubs of America have been mentoring with programs built on education, character, fitness, and leadership. And each year, nearly 4 million students benefit from the club's programs. Sheba Turk is with our next guest who grew up at his Boys and Girls Club. Sheba?
That's right, Soledad. I'm joined now with Brian Ball from Atlanta, Georgia, a man who knows the difference that mentorship can make because it made a difference in his life. Thank you for joining us, Brian. And tell me how you first got involved with the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Well, my dad, before my parents divorced, my dad signed me up and my two sisters for the Boys and Girls Club. And my mom had no idea about it. And he signed us up a little bit before, and then he was gone. And so it was kind of like the last present he gave me, and he didn't even know what it would do for me. So
Wow.
It's amazing.
All right, and I understand you had a first mentor at the club named Mr. J. Tell me about him.
Mr. J is the executive director at Lawrenceville Boys and Girls Club in Metro Atlanta. And so he was like the first male role model I encountered at the Boys and Girls Club. And I mean, from going to school and getting in trouble, and he would find out before I got there. And he would bring me into his office, and we'd sit down, have these constructive conversations, and just talk about what I could do better. He didn't force me to do anything. He just guided me for 12 years.
Which is amazing. I understand as you got older, you had a second mentor. That was Mr. Clark. Tell us about him.
Mr. Silas Clark. I call him Uncle Si. He sat me down and talked to me and said, "Brian, what do you want to do?" I said, "I love mentorship. I love leadership, but I want to be an artist." And he says, "Well, why don't you do it?" I said, I don't know how. He says, "I'll teach you." And so since then, he's always been on my back for me pursuing what I want to do in my heart, not what it just comes natural to me or what's quote unquote my gift. It's what I want to do in life.
Which is really cool and I'm sure helped you a lot throughout life. So of course there were sports and activities at the club. How though did the club help you as a student?
As a student, it focuses a lot on academics. So we've got 4 million kids coming in America, and 78% of them from 5th to 12th grade are all on track to graduate. And I mean, for me in high school, it was rough. I didn't know what to do freshman year, 10th grade, 11th grade, and I started getting it senior year, and it was because the Boys and Girls Club said, "Hey, you need a tutor? Here you go. Hey, you need time to do your homework? Here you go. We know what you need to do and also what you can do to have fun." So they helped me get that priority straight and that balance. And you know, it was just awesome. It was just awesome.
And they helped you so much and you had so much support. I understand you're helping now. Tell us how you're doing that.
Right now I am still currently reigning as the Youth of the Year for the state of Georgia. And I've been giving back to my Boys and Girls Club since I've been able to, really. And as a photographer, my talents, but more so working with the teens at my Boys and Girls Club because they're the future. You know, I want to let them know what I was told, and so they can do the same thing. And for the past 4 summers, I worked at Camp Kiwanis, where I directly affected kids' lives in the outdoors, and just being there for them because of the backgrounds they come from, they might not have anybody as a mentor. And so here I am being a father figure when I didn't grow up with my dad. So that's what the Boys and Girls Club did for me.
Is amazing. Brian, thank you so much for sharing your story, and it's so great to see what you are doing for the community now. Guys, we know you have stories of your own with your mentors, so make sure you share those online today on social media. You can use the hashtag #AmGrad. We want to hear your stories. But for now, we are going to take a look at how NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal grew and grew, all thanks to the club.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi.
Hi,
Oh,
how are you?
How are you? Nice to see you. No spinning. That's how you hit it. What you gonna be when you grow up?
Basketball player.
You gonna be better than LeBron? Better than Kobe? Better than me? Better.
No.
What?
He can be better than you.
Yeah, say yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 19.
No, 5.
I don't know how to count. You're gonna have to teach me how to. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5. Jameer and Faith sitting in a tree. K-I-S-T-I-N-G. First come love, first come marriage. Then come baby and a baby carrot. This ain't what you want, buddy. Steph Curry. Whoa! Steph Curry, this ain't what you want.
We're right here in the Boys and Girls Club. You came here. What did it mean to you to have this club?
This is the place where it all started. Both parents had jobs, couldn't afford babysitters. Good thing for me, I live right across the street, Clinton and Avon, right there. Those projects right there. So I was instructed to, after school, come here and wait till one of us can get you. And there's a lady by the name of Miss Banks. She's still here.
Sure is.
She's like everybody's aunt, everybody's mom, everybody's grandmama. She was one that just, made sure all the kids went in the right direction. So, hers is very simple. Let me see your homework first. So education was very important. Then after we show her the homework, we get to come up here and play. So this was my safe haven, but it was also a place where I could cultivate my dreams.
If you were not here and this club were not here, where would Shaquille O'Neal have been?
Well, I was already a low-level juvenile delinquent. I mean low-level, mischievous, getting into trouble. I got friends and family who didn't make it, who decided to go the easy route and didn't make it. Could have possibly went that route, or could have possibly went the route I went before. But this was here. I took advantage of it. Thank God for organizations like this and people like Miss Banks. She used to spank me with her belt. Did you ever see a kid running up the hall yelling, Miss Banks? No, that was me. I'm sorry, Miss Banks. I owe this place. I owe the Boys and Girls Club of America. That's why I keep coming back. If it wasn't for this place, there'd be no Shaquille O'Neal or a Shaquille O'Neal brand.
And it's even more now. It offers even more now than when you were a kid.
Yeah, they didn't have any of this when I was a kid. That's why I said I, teamed up with them and I'd come back and we help raise money and I help build all the stuff they have in there now. And it's awesome. People call it giving back. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do it because my mother told me to do it. Mom says, you need to go back and fix that place up. You need to go back to Newark and fix Newark up. So all the stuff that I'm doing, some people may call it giving back, but I'm taking orders from the person who raised me, Lucille O'Neal Harrison.
You can care about any place in the world, do whatever you want to do. Why Newark? I know you made the promise to.
Because my mother and father created a program called Shack. They got all the parts from Newark. You can't find the parts anywhere else. So, and if I want to keep my sharpness, I got to come back home and get my parts replaced. Period. That's why. They don't build. They don't build this sexiness anywhere else. They build it right here.
You did say sexiness, right?
Sexiness. SEXINESSS. Sexiness.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5. Got it. I got it now. I got it now.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You've had an important mentor in your life.
Yeah, Dale Brown. 13 years old, 6'9", couldn't dunk, couldn't play. Dale Brown comes to my father's Army base in West Germany. My father says, hey, let's go listen to this guy, Coach. Maybe you can get a scholarship. So I talked to him. I was like, Coach, 6'9", can't play, can't dunk. Can you help me out with some exercise to strengthen my lower extremities? So he puts his hand on me and said, how long you been in the Army? I was like, I'm not in the Army, I'm 13. So he's like, what, 13? So we kept in touch. And what I really liked about Dale Brown is he always sent me quotes, pamphlets, exercise every week in Germany. I read them, and then I had to write him a painful letter. Man, all the stuff you sent me didn't work. Thanks for the help, I appreciate you. I'm gonna quit now, I'm gonna just join the Army like my dad. Love you. Next letter I get, no, I don't want you to quit. You know what, forget basketball. I want you to focus on your education. When you get back to the States and graduate, call me. I'll give you a scholarship. This is when I was 13. I wasn't, nobody knew I was. I was 13, he said, I'll give you a scholarship. And that's why I chose to go to LSU, because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And then by the time I got back from Germany to San Antonio, I was the #1 player in high school at the time. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna choose this guy because he helped me through the way.
And once you went to LSU?
Once you went to LSU, he took care of me and had the same principles my parents have. You know, like, heard you were out with some guys drinking the other day. You know better than that. You know to be a leader and not a follower. Yes, sir. Next time you see that happen and people taking pictures, you need to get out of there. You know you don't drink. I don't want you around that crowd. Yes, sir. So he was very, very tough. You know, tough love only, propelled me to greatness. So, yeah, Derek Brown was definitely a hell of a mentor.